Howdy there. Do y'all like to read? No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to be reading today. Although these are some great books if you're looking for reef creatures or a lovely introduction to abstract algebra, the reason I'm piling up these books is not because they're some of my favorites, but because they're some of the biggest and most sturdy books that I own. So, welcome back to the Journey to the Full Pancake series. I'm your host, John. In this series, I'm using the methods that got me my full splits in order to train the full pancake pose. So, these methods will soon be available in my Finding Flexibility course. The link is in the description to join the waitlist and be the first to be notified when it's released. So, check that out if you're interested and want to support the channel. So, let's first do a recap of what we'd covered in this series so far. The first episode, we talked about practical ways to measure your flexibility and thus how to track your progress with flexibility training over time. We talked about how to change the angle of your pancake stretch in order to suit your current personal level of flexibility on the day. We talked about how to use weights in order to increase the stretch stimulus. And today we're going to take a look at our first accessory exercise, as an adjunct to the actual pancake pose itself. This exercise is called Straddle Ups, and it's a bit of a more dynamic exercise compared to how we might actually practice stretching the normal pancake pose, and so it gives us a slightly different stimulus.
Whew. Oh, bit crampy in the hips there. Oh, oh, but the range of motion, that felt good.
It kind of starts in an elevated seated pancake position and then ends in more of a loaded side split position. So it stretches sort of more of the leg opening or splits motion of the pancake stretch than the posterior chain or the back stretching motion. So it's more of a leg opener than it is a forward fold. So with this exercise, we begin by elevating our hips on something a bit higher than our feet level that can support our weight. We sit on it in a wide straddle, and then you lean forward, and using your hands, you try to transition all of your weight from the books or from your base of support over your feet to be loaded on your legs. Then once you're in balance and your hips and your adductors are engaged, you push your hips forward in order to raise your torso up to nearly vertical. Pause for a moment and then reverse the motion back down. So in doing this, I feel a pretty strong stretch in my adductors near my knees and also in my hips, kind of on the inside near the groin. And you can complete this for as many reps as feels good to you. Over time, we can progress this stretch by decreasing the stack of books or the height of whatever we're sitting on. As we see here on my third set, I take off one of the books and thus go a bit deeper. I will note that this does take a little bit of skill. As you can see in many of my reps, it looks a little bit awkward at the point where I'm transitioning the weight from my hands to my legs, but some of the reps are a little bit more slow and more controlled. I think it helps to actively push your feet into the ground in order to sort of pre-load your feet and be ready to apply the tension that your body weight will apply to them. So let's talk some programming notes. How would I actually work this into my high intensity stretching program? Well, I believe in following a roughly 80-20 model, so that 80% of our time spent practicing for the pancake stretch should be in variations of the actual full compound stretch, so the pancake stretch itself. And then only 20% of the time spent stretching should be working on accessories. So if you think about that in one session, maybe we're going to do sort of 3 total repetitions of stretching. The first 2 could be the full pancake, and then the last one could be an accessory. Or you could think about it throughout a week. If you were going to do 3 high-intensity stretching sessions for the week, 2 of them could just do the pancake, and then the third could just do this exercise. So 2 specific cases I might throw in an accessory like this. First of all is if I have a specific weakness or stagnant area in the overall compound stretch. So if when I'm doing the pancake stretch, I only feel the stretch in one area and never in another area that I think I should, it could be a time to isolate that area. So for instance, if when I'm doing the pancake stretch, I feel a lot of stretching in my low back and my glutes, and I never really feel it so much in my hamstrings or adductors, then working on this as an accessory gives me an opportunity to stimulate those parts of the body that aren't currently being worked by the full compound stretch. Using accessories can also just be useful if you just want to change things up in your routine, because sometimes you might find stretching boring and you're not super motivated to do your session. So if you're trying a different exercise that's a bit more novel to you, or that maybe you just find more fun, you can still make really good gains by doing that if you're just more motivated to do it. Awesome. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to join the waitlist for the Finding Flexibility course if that interests you. Now I'm going to get back to my stretching, and I will catch you folks in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.